How long have you lived in Rowlett, and what's your favorite thing about this community?
I actually grew up in Rowlett. I lived here. My family moved here in 1972, and I actually graduated from Rockwall High School in 1981. I lived most of my adult life, however, on the West Coast and on the East Coast. And my husband and I moved back here to Rowlett in 2012. My parents were having some serious illnesses, and it was time for us to come home and be with them in their older age. My favorite thing about this community is the lake. I love the lake, but really my most favorite thing is the people. I have gotten to meet so many wonderful people who have contributed to my life, and I hope I've contributed to their life. And I look forward to getting up every day because I never know who I'm going to see on the street.
How has your background, work experience, and/or volunteer service equipped you to serve on City Council?
I have worked for the City of Rowlett for a number of years. I started out as a Parks Recreation aide. I picked up trash on the weekends, and I also helped build Kids Kingdom Playground. That is one of my most awesome experiences, was taking that playground from bare ground up to what it is now. If I ever need to lighten my day, all I do is go by Kids Kingdom and I see all of the kids playing, and my day is made.
What are some objectives that you want to accomplish during your term in office?
During my term in office, I would love to help break down the silos that exist within our city administration and across the city itself. Not everybody knows where everything in the city is, so I would like to help all of our residents understand all of the things that the city has to offer, and help our residents, our citizens, enjoy all of our parkland and all of the programming and opportunities that we have to offer.
What programs would you propose to help deter criminal activity in Rowlett?
I think it's important for all of our residents to understand that public safety is on all of us. It is not just the police officers who are responsible for public safety. I would really like to see us have many more programs in each neighborhood where neighbors can get to know each other and they can know when something is off in their neighborhood. I think crime watches are wonderful, block parties are wonderful. Anything that for our neighbors to get to know each other is really going to help with any criminal activity that could be going on in your neighborhood. I think it is important that we take care of any sort of tags or vandalism very quickly. And I hope that everybody feels safe as they walk through their neighborhoods in the evening or in the morning as they're getting ready for their day. Being safe in your neighborhood is really the number one priority for all local government.
What key areas of infrastructure in Rowlett do you believe need immediate attention, and how would you propose those be addressed?
It's important for everyone to understand that there are great needs for infrastructure in the city of Rowlett, as there are across the entire DFW area, across the state of Texas, and the United States of America. We are actively reaching out with our residents and doing bond committees to prioritize what infrastructure our residents feel are most important. And so I would emphasize that we need to go with what our bond committees recommend. I also think it's really important that we begin an education program for all of our residents to understand how their daily activities affect our infrastructure. Things like not having grease in your plumbing system, keeping your yard watered so that trees don't start collapsing streets. There's all sorts of things that we can do as residents to help protect our infrastructure.
If given the opportunity, what changes would you recommend be made to Rowlett's comprehensive plan?
We recently had an update to the Rowlett Comprehensive Plan within the last 3 years. There was a committee that was put together. They did an update on Realize Rowlett 2020. So I am going to say that those residents put in many hours of work, and they did a great job in making recommendations for the comprehensive plan. If there are things that need to be tweaked as we go forward, then I would be happy to listen to everyone's input and implement those changes. I know we also have the planning department going through Rowlett Recode, and they are also looking at some of the planning documents and ordinances that pertain to our comprehensive plan.
What items of consideration would you give to a zoning case that comes before the council?
I think the most important thing when a zoning case comes before council is that we listen. There is an entire process that goes on kind of in public, but kind of behind the scenes. There is the recommendations from the planning department. There is the Planning and Zoning Commission. At a public hearing, people are encouraged to come and give their opinion about a zoning case. And then we also, to kind of wrap up the information, we have the planning department giving a presentation, and then the developer, or I guess the developer, can also give a presentation as well. So I think throughout that process of listening, that is how we make good planning decisions. There is also, I would also say, I would always listen to the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings. I might not attend every one, but they are online, and so I can see those and understand the issues that are coming ahead of council.
What types of economic development incentives do you believe are right for Rowlett?
I would be very hesitant about using economic incentives right now. I know that there are a lot of people that are very enthusiastic and believe that incentives are very, very important. I know that we do not have a lot of money in our economic development incentive program because we have been giving 1 penny of our sales tax revenue to DART, and many other cities use that penny for their economic development corporation. So I also feel like when you give economic incentives, you're doing that business maybe a slight disservice, because at some point that incentive is going to go away. I feel like if a business is going to come in and be successful, they should be able to be successful from day one. However, there are times that it might be totally appropriate. I would listen to whatever our economic director recommended, and in concert with the other council, decide what the best course of action for economic incentives would be.
What types of development do you foresee for Rowlett's remaining land?
I have confidence that our economic development department is doing great work in getting new developments out, especially for the North Shore. If I could wave my magic wand and say, oh, well, what I would really like to have, I would really love to have a satellite campus of a university there, because I love to learn. And I would love to be able to just drive to a satellite campus of one of the state universities maybe. But I believe that the magic of capitalism will do its work, and we will have good development out in the North Shore and all the infill places that we have still available.
Rowlett has significant facilities needs across many of its departments. How do you prioritize the facilities needs that exist, and why?
I think the facility needs are critical. Certainly, public safety is number one. The police need adequate space for their lockers, for their work. It is vital that they get more space. The voters of Rowlett will decide this May whether or not they want to spend $60 million on a public safety facility. And I will be glad and happy whatever they decide. There are going to be plenty of options, I believe, whether or not they pass that bond or they don't pass that bond. I believe that there are existing buildings in the city of Rowlett that we could use to help house maybe departments. But I do know that the public safety really is number one, and they really do need a facility.
Are there any departments, programs, or functions that the city does not currently have, which you feel would add a level of service and improve quality of life for residents?
I think one of the most important things that we actually do not have, I think we needed a printed publication to go out to our residents twice a year. I think we need to have all of the city services and how to contact them in a written form so people can refer to it. I know many millennials are so happy to use their phone, but sometimes it's nice to just sit down and browse a catalog so you can see all of the wonderful programming that we offer. I think it would be wonderful if we had our recreation programming, our library programming, plus all of the things that our boards and commissions do, all in one place so that our residents can pick and choose the things that is going to increase their quality of life. I would also like to have a map in that publication that shows all of our parks, our trails, and how to access, say, the bike trails. So I really do believe that increasing communication is the top priority for me. I think our communication team is doing a great job. I'm really pleased with the Friday at 5, with the new podcast, and with Hannah doing the video Friday at 5. I think all of that is awesome. But I'm also a little old school, and I like a map and I like a book. So I think that would be a great thing to have. Again, I think that having silos broken down so departments communicate clearly is really important. And I really, again, would make that a big priority.
Are there any departments, programs, or functions that the city currently has, which you view as unnecessary or extraneous?
I really cannot think of any department or anything that is extraneous in the city of Rowlett. You know, I put together, when I was the neighborhood life coordinator, I put together a program called the City Academy, the Rowlett City Academy. And we had a great time going through every different department. And I would bet almost everybody would agree with me that every department that we visited and every director that we talked to is important to the quality of life here in Rowlett.
Taking into account the cost of any proposals you've already mentioned, what ideas do you have to help lessen the tax burden on residents and commercial entities in the city?
I think that it's important for us to remember, I looked it up on Wallet Hub recently, as far as a tax burden for the state, Texas is like at number 32. We do not have a state income tax. We do have our sales tax, we have our property tax. And we are actually getting value from our tax dollars. I am glad that we have provided the seniors the tax freeze. I don't know that everybody knows that, but seniors get a tax freeze when they turn 65. And so that means that tax increases from the city of Rowlett will never go up for our senior citizens. The other thing that the senior citizens enjoy is a $30,000 exemption. So I do think that that is a really important thing for all of our residents to remember as they pay their monthly tax bill.
Please share your financial background and elaborate on your qualifications to oversee the city's $100 million plus annual budget.
I have a bachelor's degree in management science from the Alaska Pacific University. That was a little while ago, but I certainly understand basic accounting, and I certainly understand the budgeting process, whether it is $100 million or the paycheck that I bring home from my job. There is money that is available, and there are responsibilities that must be met. So I think that managing a $100 million budget is really no different than managing my budget at home. There are people on staff who are paid to look at all of the financial tools and all of the financial instruments, and they bring that to council, and council listens and can listen and understand how the money is being invested and how it is being invested wisely. In addition to managing my budget at home, when I was the neighborhood life coordinator, I also had an internal budget that I had to manage. And so I really do have an in-depth knowledge of the budget and how the budget process works. And it is a process that is understandable by ordinary people.
What vision do you have for the future of Rowlett? How would you ensure that vision is implemented long-term?
My vision for Rowlett is that we continue to be a wonderful community, kind of nestled in next to the lake, that our community is strong and resilient. I think it is important, very important, for the city council, for local government, all local government, not only to focus on the next 5 years or the next 10 years. We also really need to be looking at what is going to be happening 60 years from now. A lot of decisions were made back in the 1950s that we still are dealing with today. So we need to have a vision, and we need to listen to the people who are interested in the long-term vision for our city. So I think it's vitally important that we have listening sessions, we have town halls, so we can talk about these kinds of things, because I want everyone's great-grandchildren to enjoy clean running water, to have good roads, to maybe have more nature available to them. So I think it's really, really important that our vision is not just 5 years, not just 10 years, but it's 100 years. And the way I feel like we can ensure that vision happens is by connecting with our residents and listening to what they want. Because in reality, it isn't the city council who is going to be doing all of this work. It's the people of Rowlett. They're the ones who are going to be making decisions each year as we go forward. So if we can help, we can come together and craft a vision of what we want to have in 100 years. That's something I'm really interested in.
Please share any closing comments with our viewers.
First of all, I would like to thank everybody for making it this far in the video. I really am very grateful for the fact that there are people that are interested and care about what is going on in local government. I am very grateful for all of the people who serve on our boards and commissions. And I really would like to say thank you to everyone who is doing their part with local government. I think I bring a unique perspective to local government. I lived on a sailboat for 17 years, so I have a unique perspective on a lot of things about city government. I came into suburbia not understanding how a lot of things worked. I didn't understand that I needed to water my foundation. I didn't understand really just how to manage all of the things that go on in a suburban area. So I feel like I bring a fresh perspective to people who are just now coming into living life in the suburbs. I feel like sometimes that new family who just had a baby and is just moving into a house, and how do you juggle all of this stuff? So that really is kind of my perspective on city government. How do I help all of my neighbors have pleasant experiences with the city government? Everything pretty much needs to be hassle-free with your local government. We need to be able to listen and to respond. So I think that I view myself as a real advocate for just everyday ordinary people, because that's who I am. I'm just an every ordinary people, just like everybody else. So again, my name is Elise Bowers. I'm running for City Council Place 3. And I would really appreciate your vote. You can see a little bit more about me, and all my contact information is on my website, elisabowers.com. And you can email me there. My phone number is there. And feel free to reach out anytime. Thanks so much.